Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wake up. That weekly trip to the grocery store? It's about to feel a lot more like a treasure hunt, and you're not going to like what you find. Or rather, what you don't find. We're standing on the edge of a supply crisis, and your go-to kitchen essentials, those pantry staples you take for granted, could soon be worth their weight in gold. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. We're talking empty shelves, skyrocketing prices, and a mad dash for the basics you use every single day. It's not your imagination. The global food system is unraveling thanks to a perfect storm of climate chaos, broken supply chains, and economic instability. Inflation was just the warm-up act. This is the main event, and it's not going to be pretty. Stick around, because we're about to reveal the 8 foods that are most vulnerable. Trust us, you'll want to hear this. Before we get to the list, you need to understand why this is all hitting the fan right now. The truth is, we are living in a perfect storm of global instability. First, climate change isn't some far-off threat anymore. It's here, and it's battering our farms. Historic droughts, devastating floods, and killer heat waves are crippling harvests for the crops we depend on. The places we can grow food are literally shrinking before our eyes. Second, our supply chains are a mess. They are still reeling from the pandemic, and now you can add geopolitical conflicts and logistical nightmares at our ports to the fire. Even when food gets harvested, just getting it from the farm to your store has become a monumental challenge. Finally, economic chaos is the gasoline on the fire. Inflation and the insane cost of fuel make it more expensive to grow food and more expensive to ship it. These aren't separate problems. They're tangled together in a web of fragility that puts some of your favorite foods at extreme risk. Now, let's get to the foods you need to know about. Food number 8. Canned coconut milk. Coming in at number 8 on our list is canned coconut milk. For millions, this isn't some fancy ingredient. It's a pantry hero. It's the heart of curries, the secret to dairy-free smoothies, and a cornerstone for countless recipes. But here's the bad news. Its future is on shaky ground. Why? Because the entire world's supply comes from just a handful of countries, mainly the Philippines, Indonesia, and Thailand. This is its greatest weakness. The entire global supply is at the mercy of the weather in one tiny corner of the world. And lately, that weather has been brutal. Severe droughts and powerful typhoons are devastating coconut plantations, leading to a major drop in output. To make it worse, a huge number of the world's coconut trees are just plain old. They're past their prime, and new planting efforts can't keep up with our demand. This isn't just a farming issue, it's a logistics nightmare. Shipping problems and port congestion are creating massive bottlenecks. We're already seeing prices surge, and some restaurant owners have reported that fresh coconut milk has become very limited, forcing them to change traditional recipes. One chef called it the heartbeat of our food. And that heartbeat is getting weaker. One bad typhoon season could be all it takes. You could walk into the store one day and find that key ingredient has simply vanished. Food number 7. Instant coffee. Next up, at number 7, is the fuel for millions of mornings, instant coffee. Coffee snobs can look down on it all they want, but for a huge part of the world, instant coffee is a lifeline. It's affordable, it's fast, and you don't need any fancy equipment. But the future of your quick caffeine fix is surprisingly fragile. Most of the world's instant coffee comes from Robusta beans, and 2 countries dominate production: Brazil and Vietnam. This puts the global supply in an incredibly vulnerable spot. Climate change is hitting these regions with a vengeance. Soaring temperatures and brutal droughts are shrinking the areas where coffee can even grow. Vietnam has already been slammed by heat that crushed their yields. This supply squeeze is being felt everywhere, with global coffee prices already hitting historic highs. But it doesn't stop there. Geopolitical issues are adding another layer of chaos. For instance, the US is facing a new duty on Indian instant coffee, which could reroute supply away from American shelves. The convenience of instant coffee is hiding a very inconvenient truth. A single climate disaster in Brazil, or a policy change in Vietnam, could turn this affordable staple into a rare and expensive luxury overnight. Food number 6. Epusi. The 6th food on our list is a symbol of cozy pancake breakfasts, pure maple syrup. Unlike the others, The threat here isn't about global shipping. It's about the fact that it comes from one very specific place with one very specific climate. Virtually all the world's maple syrup comes from Quebec, Canada, and parts of the northeastern US. Its production is a delicate dance with nature, needing freezing nights and thawing days for the sap to flow. Well, climate change is throwing that dance into chaos. Warmer winters are making the season completely unpredictable. A sudden, rapid thaw can kill the season almost as soon as it begins, tanking production. This sensitivity means one bad season has a massive impact. The strategic reserve in Quebec, which acts as a global buffer, has been drained to its lowest levels in years just to keep up with demand. That shows you how tight the supply already is. On top of that, the cost of equipment is soaring. One expert warned that if prices go up too much, people will just walk away and buy the cheaper, unhealthy alternatives. The United States already can't produce enough to meet its own demand. The day could be coming when real, pure maple syrup becomes a rare treat. We're not even halfway through, and you can already see how fragile things are. These aren't just warnings. These are real threats to the food on your table. If you want to stay informed and prepared for what's coming, take a second to hit that subscribe button. Our goal is to give you the information you need to navigate these times, and your support helps us do that. Now, let's get back to the list. Food number 5. Tahini sesame paste. At number 5, we have an ingredient that has absolutely exploded in popularity: tahini. Once a staple of Middle Eastern food, it's now a health food darling, essential for everything from hummus to salad dressings. But the global rise of tahini is on a collision course with its incredibly vulnerable supply chain. Tahini is made from one thing: sesame seeds. And the world's supply comes from a handful of regions, like India and Sudan. This makes it wide open to a host of problems. Supply chain disruptions and labor shortages have already caused prices to surge, putting immense pressure on the companies that make tahini. The challenges are getting worse with climate change, as unpredictable harvests are causing wild price swings and shortages. The infrastructure in some of these countries isn't helping either. Poor storage and transportation can ruin the seeds before they ever leave the country. A regional conflict, a severe drought, or a major port shutdown could turn this slow squeeze into a full-blown crisis, and tahini could become a lot harder to find. Food number 4. Powdered milk. The fourth food on our list is a hidden giant in our food system: powdered milk. You might not think about it, but it's a crucial ingredient in baking, a key part of infant formula, and a cornerstone of emergency food supplies. Its shelf stability makes it indispensable. Here's the scoop. The dairy industry is incredibly sensitive to shocks. Dairy cows don't do well in the heat, which hurts milk output. The industry also depends on animal feed, which is facing its own shortages and price hikes. In the US, milk powder prices have soared. At the same time, major producers like the European Union are actually cutting back on skim milk powder production because they can make more money selling cheese. This creates a precarious situation. As a major exporter like the EU reduces its output, the world is left scrambling. The biggest threat of an overnight disappearance comes from its role in a crisis. During an emergency, powdered milk is one of the first things governments and aid groups stockpile. That can cause a sudden, dramatic shortage for the rest of us. We all saw what happened with baby formula. A similar scenario for powdered milk would be a serious blow to home bakers and emergency preparedness. Food number 3. Canned fish, tuna, sardines, mackerel. Coming in at number 3 is a protein powerhouse for millions: canned fish. It's affordable, it's shelf-stable, and it's packed with nutrients. The market for canned tuna and sardines is massive. However, the ocean isn't a bottomless pantry, and this industry is facing an existential threat. Overfishing has pushed many key fish stocks to the absolute brink. The sustainability of the entire industry is in question. Climate change is making it all worse. As warming oceans force fish populations to move or die off, a sudden fishing ban, designed to protect a collapsing fish stock, could halt production almost instantly. We've seen it happen. For us, this means the reliable can of tuna in the pantry isn't so reliable anymore. A combination of declining fish stocks, new fishing regulations, or a climate-driven collapse could lead to a sudden and severe shortage. The ocean's tipping point could arrive without warning. and with it, the disappearance of one of the world's most accessible proteins. Food number 2. Key spices like cinnamon and cardamom. The second spot on our list isn't a single food, but the category that gives our food its soul. Essential spices, especially cinnamon and cardamom. What would your favorite recipes be without them? These spices are foundational, yet their supply chains are alarmingly fragile. Their vulnerability comes from extreme geographic concentration. A huge portion of the world's cinnamon comes from just a few countries. Most of the world's cardamom comes from tiny regions in India and Guatemala. This means one local event, a crop disease, a political crisis, or one bad storm can cripple the entire global supply. And it's happening. Erratic weather has already delayed the cardamom harvest in India, leading to major shortages and price hikes. Some projections warn that production could fall by a catastrophic amount. And it's not just the quantity. The quality is being hit too. These aren't luxury problems. A spice shortage impacts everyone. Because these spices can't be grown just anywhere, there are no quick fixes. The flavor you depend on relies on a stable climate thousands of miles away. If that falters, the flavor vanishes with it. Food number 1. Specialty cheeses. Brie, Gouda, Feta. And now, for the number 1 food on our list, an item that will shock many because it feels like a permanent fixture of our deli counters. Specialty cheeses. We're talking about Brie, Gouda, Feta, and others defined by where and how they are made. Why are these at the top? Because their production is a perfect storm of every vulnerability we've discussed. First, many are geographically locked. Real feta has to be made in certain parts of Greece. This instantly limits the supply. Second, the process is incredibly sensitive. It needs specific types of milk, unique bacterial cultures, and temperature-controlled aging. A disruption in any one of these can stop production cold. Third, the supply chain is a logistical nightmare. They require uninterrupted refrigeration. Any delay at a port or in a warehouse can ruin entire shipments. The disappearance of specialty cheese wouldn't just be a loss for foodies. It would be a signal that our intricate global food system is breaking down. It's the loss of cultural heritage, a canary in the coal mine for a less diverse and less flavorful future. From your morning coffee to your evening meal, the foods that define our lives are more vulnerable than we ever imagined. As we've seen, it only takes one thread to pull for the whole thing to start unraveling. The point of this isn't to scare you, it's to wake you up. The era of taking our food supply for granted is over. An empty shelf is no longer a what if, it's a when, if we keep ignoring the warning signs. So, what can you do? Be aware. Pay attention to where your food is coming from. Start diversifying your pantry and don't rely on just one thing. Most importantly, be prepared. Understanding these weak spots is the first step toward building resilience for you and your family. This is a conversation we all need to be having. What changes are you seeing at your local grocery store? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this valuable, please like this video and subscribe. Stay informed and stay safe.